everybody just loves him. That is just the position, because he's a man who has a woman relation. He's a man who is a friend of everybody. He's a man of grassroots. He's a man who respects everybody, no matter how highly placed. You might be rich, you might be poor, he's a friend to everybody. So somebody like that, who is a mediator, who is an arbitrator, who is a negotiator, what do we expect from him? We believe Ibadan will surely be peaceful.
Before he got to the throne, he's a very good man. So I'm expecting what is better for what he has been doing before. So, and I know he will never let us down.
When I was a small boy in Lagos, my parents lived at Butameta. Then I used to hear about Omaje Sound Studio, Omaje Record Studio, and I knew him from there as a child. So when he became the Olubadan of Ibadan, and then the governor too, Ajimobi, is my friend, I said I must be a witness to the coronation of this my father.
We expect his reign to be peaceful and uniting. And let him make use of the word of God, the truth. Let him stand by truth and justice at all times in treating all Nigerians in Ibadan land. That will be the best we are expecting from him.
There is a new king in Ibadan. It is a new dawn for Ibadan. Long live the Olubadan. Long live Ibadan land. Long live Nigeria.
Adétúnjí Soliu ló mọyẹ lọ́ba. Adétúnjí Soliu ló mọyẹ lọ́ba. Òun ló lè tọ́jú ìlú tí ó sì gbàlú là. Òun ló lè tọ́jú ìlú tí ó sì gbàlú là o. Adétúnjí Soliu ló mọyẹ lọ́ba.
This is NTA International.
My name is Balaunti. I'm the Managing Director of Petroleum Product Marketing Company, a subsidiary of NNPC. There are significant price discrepancy between Nigeria and its neighbors across Africa. There's a discrepancy of between 150 to 250 naira. That creates an incentive for arbitrage, whereby smuggling triumphed by taking petroleum product across the neighbors so that they can be sold at higher price. While the smugglers are making the money, Nigeria is paying for it. And that payment is distorting everything that we do in terms of planning, in terms of our ability to fund, and thereby taking money that is meant for development. The introduction of this Operation White will have a reduction of close to 6 million liters on daily basis, which it will take an average of 150, translate to a saving of over 1 billion naira every day. That is the benefit of Operation White, and we have started seeing the great benefit.
Welcome to Nigeria, a fascinating country. Take a trip through one of the most beautiful places on earth. A journey of discovery. A unique opportunity to get in touch with unspoiled nature. Enjoy your time in a place that offers something for everyone. Beautiful contrasts. An experience you won't forget.
Hello, how is the weather at your end? It was raining a few months back. Now it's harmattan, fog, colds, winds, and dust. So I ask again, how is the weather at your end? The weather is affecting a lot of things, including air and road travels. We have stories of these. The standoff between the US and Iran has put the world on its toes. What are the issues? What are the prospects for de-escalation or war? Stay with me and find out. For four governors, it's an all-clear sign from the Supreme Court on the elections. They can hit the ground running without fear of banana peels from their opponents at last year's polls. Also tonight, the FRSC is reading the Riot Act on those who go showing off with sirens and convoys without appropriate authorization. You know the package will not be complete without a bit on business environment. Let me give you a peek. Watch out for the story on Panteka Market, where the ingenuity and creativity of Nigerians is most visible. There is also culture, religion, sports, and tomorrow's weather prospect. I guess I've whetted your appetites as the taste of the pudding is in the eating. I am Fatima Omar Buba, and this is News Extra. The Supreme Court has upheld the victories of the governors of Abia, Taraba, Niger, and Delta State at the 2019 governorship election. The seven-man panel of justices led by Justice Bode Rhodes Viva gave the unanimous judgment this Wednesday, and Olabode Arewa reports.
Dismissing the appeal filed by Umar Nasco against the victory of Niger Governor Sonny Bello, the Supreme Court held that the appellant failed to prove the allegations of overvoting and allotment of votes during the election. The seven-man panel of justices, led by Justice Bode Rhodes Viva, affirmed that the court will not upturn the decision of the trial court with the concurrent decision of the appeal court. The court subsequently dismissed the matter for lack of merit. The appeal of Alex Oti of Abga against the election of Governor Okeze Ikpeazu was also dismissed. The appeal court held that the appellant only dumped the voters' register before the trial court without any witness to prove them. The court also held that the Court of Appeal was right in disallowing some exhibits it considered to be of little probative value. On the appeal filed by the APC against Taraba Governor Darius Ishiaku, the Apex Court held that since the party had no valid candidate for the election, it lacked the local standard, filing an appeal against the results. The Supreme Court described the appeal as a sheer academic exercise and a mere waste of the precious time of the court. Hence, the appeal was refused. On the Delta governorship appeal, filed by APC candidate Great Ugburu against the election of Governor Ifeanyi Okowa, alleging overvoting, the court also threw out the appeal for lacking in merit.
Well, looking at the papers from beginning, we knew it was a waste of time, so we're not surprised at all.
The Supreme Court had given its decision based on objection, but certainly not on the merit of the petition.
The Apex Court held that while the use of the card reader for the conduct of election was commendable and should be sustained, it is not superior to the voters' register until the use of the card reader is imputed in the Electoral Act. In Abuja, Olabode Arewa, NTA News.
So thank you so much, Bode, for that. And then the Iran and the United States standoff has continued to trigger political insecurity and uncertainty in the Middle East. This is coming as political and economic analysts are of the views that if war broke out between the two, it will not stop in the Gulf region alone, but global economy would be affected. And Musa Babalu has the report.
The United States' decision to launch an attack on Iran took many by surprise, as no one saw it coming, following President Trump's pronouncement on Christmas Day that what America needs is peace in the Middle East. The attack killed a senior Iranian security officer, Qasem Soleimani, while leaving Baghdad, Iraq. The general has since been buried in his hometown. The Iranians and their allies across the world have been reacting to the death of the general. Tehran described the killing as a provocative move from US and vowed to retaliate in more painful manner. The threat was carried out as Iran launched ballistic missile attacks on U.S. military troops base in neighboring Iraq in retaliation.
Americans were harmed in last night's attack by the Iranian regime. We suffered no casualties. All of our soldiers are safe, and only minimal damage was sustained at our military bases. Our great American forces are prepared for anything. Iran appears to be standing down, which is a good thing for all parties concerned and a very good thing for the world. No American or Iraqi lives were lost because of the precautions taken, the dispersal of forces, and an early warning system that worked very well.
Analysts are of the view that the action and inaction of the countries will further trigger the political, economic, and security fragility of the Middle East.
Even from the historical perspective of what has happened during this kind of crisis, if you look at the Gulf War, when America attacked Iraq, after Iraq attacked Kuwait, the spike, in the price of oil, it had huge adverse effects on the economy of the world, to the extent that the whole world was thrown into recession at that time.
I've been following the recent rise in global tensions with great concern. I'm in constant contact with leading officials around the world. And my message is simple and clear. Stop escalation. Exercise maximum restraint. Restart dialogue. Renew international cooperation. Let us not forget the terrible human suffering caused by war. As always, ordinary people pay the highest price.
This has begun to manifest as the tension has triggered the prices of crude oil. This may sound good to oil exporting countries, just like what happened in the 90s during US-Iraqi war.
Oil increase, the price increase in oil will benefit the economy on the short run, but on the long run, perhaps, the case may be different.
However, there is the fear that the gravity of Iran-US crisis could be higher and may affect global oil production. In Abuja, Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
Well, thank you so much, Musa Baba Aliyu, for that background report. And I have Dr. Adoye Omale of the Department of International Relations Diplomacy from the Bayes University. He's right here with me. Thank you so much for coming on News Extra tonight.
My pleasure.
Yes, we've seen this report,
yes.
And it has raised, global concerns, all over. So what do you think is the political and economic consequences of this standoff?
Yes, the standoff between the U.S. and Iraq has a lot of political and economic implications to the world.
Okay.
In international relations, this type of conflict happens frequently. But one unique thing is that this particular face-off is coming close to the United States election, which is sometimes in November. And it will definitely have a domestic impact on the elections in the U.S. Globally, the tension that it's generating will have a lot of impact on a lot of countries, especially in terms of alignment and realignment within the international system. And of course, as during the analysis you heard about the impact on global oil prices. Though I'm from Nigeria here, where I believe the oil prices has gone up the highest since April last year, to 2019, which is good music to our own economy. But in the long run, as the other analysts have said, nobody wants a war. Everybody is praying for peace.
With all the military engagements we have seen, we have watched for over weeks. This is what all media stations are really talking about.
Yes.
It's really, really a great thing. And what impact can this have on Africa? And to be precise, Nigeria?
No, it will definitely have a lot of impact on Africa. As you know, even today, you saw that there were a lot of protests, agitation against what is happening in the Middle East by some Nigerians. All we pray is that we should tell our people, educate them, so that we can allow diplomacy and intervention by the United Nations to try and resolve the escalation of this conflict, rather than people coming into the streets to try to voice their opinion on this matter.
Okay, now let's come back to Nigeria. The Nigerian police, have put on red alert.
Yes.
And just in case, what else do you think the government should do apart from that?
It's good that the government took proactive measures by putting all security agencies on alert, which is a very good move. And the government should sustain it. The security intelligence is key in this matter. Nigerians also have a lot of role to play. Information to security agencies will also help where people are planning to threaten the peace or to try and go and disrupt public property. Such information should be passed to the security agencies as quickly as possible. Yeah. I think it is in the interest of the entire world, for everybody to pursue peace.
It's very, very key. It's very important. Now, under these circumstances, do you think the allies, of both nations, are talking about the U.S. and the Iran, are doing enough to achieve, the escalation?
I think the United Nations, just like the Secretary General and other people have come out to say, and various countries have all urged restraint. I think there's a lot of talking going on. A lot of quiet diplomacy is at play. And I think preventive diplomacy will also help in trying to resolve the matter in a way that the crisis will be de-escalated.
Okay, so thank you so much, Dr. Adoye-Omale, for coming on News Extra.
Thank you very much, my pleasure.
Sharing these views with you. Yes, and that was Dr. Adoye-Omale of the Department of International Relations and Diplomacy from Bayes University here in Abuja. Moving on, the Air Task Force of Operation Lafia Dole says it has destroyed some facilities at an Islamic State of West Africa province ISWAP hideout at Kasuma on the fringes of the Lake Chad. In a statement by NAV Director, Public Relations and Information, Air Commodore Ibukule Daramola, the airstrike is in continuation of the sustained offensive against terrorist targets in the northeast of the country under the auspices of Operation Rattlesnake 2. The airstrike was conducted after credible intelligence report indicated a cluster of compounds within the settlement was being used to house some ISWAP leaders along with their supplies. The ATF then detailed attack aircraft to engage the location, leading to the destruction of the designated structures, some of which were seen engulfed in flames. The NAF says it will sustain its air campaign in synergy with surface forces to shape the battle space in the northeast for the effective conduct of further ground and air operations. In the meantime, as part of ongoing drive to develop a formidable fighting formation through the Nigerian Army University Bureau in Borno State, the Chief of Air Staff, Lieutenant General Tukur Buratai, has inaugurated the Natural and Applied Science Complex for the institution. Defense correspondent Ismail Musa has the details of the event.
With this, the Pioneer Nigerian Army University Bureau can be described as a unique center of excellence. The university can now boast of a conducive environment for research and development. The center runs special courses like artificial intelligence, robotic, nano and weapon technology to support the replenishment of military equipment.
This is in tune with my vision of having a professionally responsive Nigerian Army in the discharge of its constitutional roles. Let me also use this opportunity to thank the President, Muhammadu Buhari, for graciously granting approval for the establishment of this university.
With 75% quota of admissions allocated to the civilian and 25% to military and paramilitary, the university commenced academic activities in 2018 with 5 faculties and 39 programs.
On the importance of civil-military collaboration in the war against insurgency and other forms of criminality, let me assure the university community and the people of Bureau of our dedication and commitment to provide a peaceful and enabling environment for academic activities to strive.
When fully developed, the school is expected to have 14 faculties, 133 departments, and 493 programs. The Pioneer Nigerian Army University Bureau was conceptualized and developed in 2018 to provide research-based solutions to challenges confronting the military in view of its increasing role in the nation's emerging security threats across the country. From Biu in Borno State, Ismail Musa, NTA News.
Nice one there, Ismail. Now, in 2019 was historic for Nigeria's bicameral legislature. The tenure of 8th Assembly elapsed, paving the way for inauguration of the 9th Assembly. It was also the only year in Nigeria's history that the Parliament passed two budgets, the budget of 2019 in February and the budget of 2020 in December, both of which were signed same year. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali reports on some of the events of the 2019 in the House of Representatives.
Aside legislative work during plenary, the House of Representatives in the early parts of 2019 witnessed defections from across party lines by House members, including the then Speaker Yakubu Dogara, who defected from the APC to the PDP. On the 9th of June 2019, the 8th House of Representatives under the leadership of Yakubu Dogara hit the gavel for the last time, thus closing a chapter of history in the lower house of Parliament.
I take pride in our corporate accomplishment in these 4 focal years in the governance annals of our country. With our collective efforts and commitment, we have deepened and grown democracy with the passage of a total of 382 bills, 76 of which have been assented to by the President.
The 2019 general elections saw the formation of the 360-member House of Representatives. Members of 11 political parties that fielded candidates during the elections succeeded in having representations in the Green Chamber, with more than 200 coming from the ruling APC. The PDP had more than 100, while 9 others took up about 20 seats. Following presidential proclamation, the 9th House of Representatives was inaugurated on the 11th of June 2019, and new leadership emerged. Femi Gbajabiamila, a fifth-term member representing Surulere Federal Constituency of Lagos State, a minority leader in the 7th Assembly and majority leader in the 8th Assembly, emerged as the new Speaker.
Nation building, a joint task. We have decided to carry this theme into the operations of the 9th Assembly.
Ahmed Idris Wasi, member representing Wasi Federal Constituency of Plateau State, emerged as the Deputy Speaker, while names of other principal officers were subsequently announced. During the announcement of the names of minority leaders by the Speaker, the session turned rowdy. Since then, the House has moved forward in its resolve to work hand in hand with the Executive to ensure good governance. The commitment of the 9th House of Representatives to return the country to January to December budget cycle came to fruition as the House passed the 2020 Appropriation Bill in December after its presentation by President Muhammadu Buhari in October before a joint session. Aside the 2020 budgets, the House of Representatives also passed the Finance Bill 2019, the FCT budget for 2020, and that of Nigeria Customs Service. In the 6 months since its inauguration, the House of Representatives has passed 17 bills. About 47 have gone through second reading, while 176 have been taken at first reading. Among key resolutions passed by the House of Representatives was the go-ahead to the Nigerian Army to carry out the nationwide Operation Positive Identification.
The reason for the Operation Positive Identification, as stated by the Army, was that they had credible information that insurgents and particularly Boko Haram commanders are hibernating or staying within the northeast zone.
Being a House of the People, the leadership of the House during the period under review made interventions in the security, health and power sectors as a meeting was convened with stakeholders on national issues. At an engagement with stakeholders in the power sector, the Speaker made this commitment.
We want to now make that agreement a tripartite agreement and include the legislature.
2019 ended on a sad note for the Ninth House as it lost 2 members in December. Member representing Magama Rijo Federal Constituency of Niger State, Jafar Ilyasu, died on the 2nd, while member representing Babura Garki Federal Constituency of Jigawa, Muhammadu Adamu, died on the 31st. Lami Ali, NTA News.
Understanding in the Maselami. Now, housing is one of the basic needs of humans, and every day more and more people seek to either own one or rent, while others are simply homeless. Whichever category you are in, there is hope, because the federal government says it is working hard to reduce the housing deficit. Joseph Johnson, while reviewing the state of the sector, reports that issues with implementation, ineffective public-private partnership, and lack of continuity of policies worry stakeholders.
There is no place like home. Many people say that a lot. But home is a relative term, because for some people, it isn't about having a roof over their heads or a place of comfort, but where the night meets them. In Nigeria, a lot of people are said to be like that, even with the seemingly a plethora of unoccupied buildings and estates across the country. Affording them is oftentimes the challenge. That is why both the formal and informal sectors have been adopting several approaches towards solving them. The ongoing National Housing Program, which took off in 2017, is one of such, aimed at reducing the 22 million housing deficit.
Right now, we are in the first phase, which is now completed, fully completed. We have infrastructural services provided, like water, roads, electricity.
Inspection tour of the housing units, ranging between 70 and 90 in 34 out of the 36 states of the Federation, are mostly completed. Ibrahim Ozoko has been following the progress of the first phase of the project with the hope of being a beneficiary.
The houses, the specification were good and the quality is very, very okay. There is a lot of compliance with the local content, and like I said, I'm looking forward to own one of these housing units because I'm a civil servant.
Experts say Nigeria will require a minimum of an additional 2 million housing units per annum for 10 years to bridge the gap. Statistics that Umaru Aliyu disagrees with.
If you tell me that in our localities we have mud houses, and I'll tell you, yes, we have mud houses that are still sustainable, better than what we are having now. So the question of deficit does not arise at all.
Well, Ibrahim and other interested Nigerians may not need to wait for too long, as President Buhari, in his New Year message, listed 13 housing estates under the National Housing Project among projects to be delivered this year. Given the increase in the budgetary allocation, many say the sector is in for a good time in 2020 and beyond. Joseph Johnson, NTA News.
Joseph, that's a good one, I must say. And it's also a very, very good development and also a beautiful New Year message there from the president. Now, up ahead, the Harmattan cold is biting harder, sending reptiles such as snakes clambering to safety. And as its path crosses with man, what follows? Your guess is as good as mine. How available are the antidotes to snake bites? Answers when we return. Please stay.
This is beautiful.
Quality is vital. Quality is Vitafoam.
Hello, honey.
Hey, baby.
Wow. Those guys are good in bed.
What? Yes, we're good in bed. Hurry now to any Vitafoam accredited dealer nationwide or visit us online on www.vitafoamng.com to place your order today. Vitafoam, the fine art of living.
Since 1971, Nigeria's foremost human capital development institution, the Industrial Training Fund, ITF, has been at the forefront of equipping Nigerians with skills for national growth. Today's ITF has repositioned and refocused its programs, forging new partnerships locally and internationally to effectively deliver on its mandate. With 37 area offices and 5 industrial skills training centers across the country, ITF is pushing to reduce unemployment by providing relevant technical and vocational skills for employability and entrepreneurship in diverse trades and crafts. Whether you're a public or private organization seeking to improve the skills of your personnel or an individual looking to acquire skills that will increase your chances of employment or even to help start your own business, today's ITF has a program for you. Speak to us today. Contact our area offices nationwide or visit our website www.itf.gov.ng. ITF, developing the nation's human resource.
Your information dey important, just like your identity. Now the only way we fit take hala you. Make you go browse easy.gotvafrica.com. Sign in with your IUC number and mobile number and scroll down to personal details and address. Then check well to see say everything bam. You fit change the one wey not correct. To finish everything, just click the save button and it don't finish.
Thank you.
I make sure say my phone number dey correct. That's now why GoTV fit call me make I come collect my own awoof.
Angel, time for my phone in that why because now my correct phone number dey for book.
GoTV, live it, love it.
Now look me again, no. Make you go do your own.
Great to know you're still with us on News Extra. It is the season when snakes do actually crawl out from their holes to bask under the sun or look for cooler spots to relax around human settlements. And as you are aware, snakes and humans have really not been the best of friends right from creation. That explains the increase in incidences of snake bites during this period, and a prompt access to treatment in such situation is critical. The question now is, are there sufficient supply of anti-snake venom in hospitals to prevent avoidable deaths? This is what Chumduma Ondubusi seeks answers in this report.
Hot and rainy seasons. These are the peak of snake bites in Nigeria, a country with poisonous species of snakes such as cobra, puff adder, and carpet viper. It is on record that about 10,000 to 15,000 snake bite cases are reported annually, with high prevalence in the northeast and north central. 12.5% of them result in death when poorly managed. A case at hand is the recently recorded death of a pregnant woman in Kaduna. Nigeria, in collaboration with Equitab in the United Kingdom and a scientific center in Costa Rica, produces anti-snake venoms. The question many might want to ask is, are these anti-snake venoms readily available and in sufficient quantities in hospitals?
In the Federal Ministry of Health, we have antivenom in stock, though inadequate. About 2 weeks ago, a memo was sent to the Honorable Minister for approval to distribute antivenom to our various treatment centers and health facilities across the geopolitical zones. It's not only the federal government that has the statutory role of providing it. It behoves on all the states to also put snake bite budget into their budgeting.
University of Abuja Teaching Hospital, Gwagwalada, is one of the designated treatment centers.
We just acquire around October, November, enough stock, 50 vials and 20 ampoules. The monovalent and ampoule is specifically made for that carpet viper snake species. And an ampoule is enough for the treatment. Polyvalent is meant for all the dangerous snakes. It takes a maximum of two vials to get it cured completely. In 30 minutes, the patient gets up and goes. But because of its efficacy, potency, it is very, very expensive. We sell a vial for 36,000 naira.
36,000 naira for a vial? Perhaps the high cost may not be far away from why some would opt for treatment outside orthodox, as been reported by health professionals. But be that as it may, experts are saying that under no circumstance should one go the unorthodox way, as there are grievous consequences.
Once you are bitten by a snake, wash the area, with just water. Don't tie tourniquet. Go to a center where they have a facility to treat snake bite. Don't try to go and look for a black stone.
Prevention, they say, is better than cure. The nation has now come up with anti-snake venom vaccine of plant origin, which is awaiting the NACO trial. Scientists from the University of Jos discovered and are developing this vaccine that is raising hope for sufficiency, availability, and accessibility, as plans are on the way for local manufacturing of the vaccine. Chimdima Ndubisi, NTA News.
Thank you, Chidinma Ndubisi, for that. Yes, indeed, prevention is better than cure, so we should fumigate when it's necessary to fumigate. And for the first time in Nigeria, conjoined twins who were joined in the chest and abdomen are successfully separated at the National Hospital, Abuja, have been brought before the public, revealing that the procedure lasted for 12.5 hours. The health professionals promised to continue to do more to reduce medical tourism in the country. Aisha Uba Ali reports.
Goodness and Mercy were born on August 13, 2018 and were referred to National Hospital from Kefi on the 19th of August 2018. For more than 16 months, baby Goodness and Mercy were under intensive care and several diagnostic procedures to make detailed diagnosis to aid the plan of their surgery. As expected, the parents, Mr. and Mrs. Ede, were overwhelmed, and their joy knew no bounds when the twins were finally separated on the 19th of November 2019, exactly 1 year and 4 months after they were brought to the hospital.
And the hospital, the National Hospital Management, may the Almighty God continue to increase them.
Conjoined twins is caused when an early embryo partially separates to form two individuals during pregnancy, but still physically connected, sometimes at the chest, pelvic, or abdomen, sharing one or more internal organs. With advances in surgery, the chances for survival for conjoined twins has increased with consideration of where the twins are joined, how many organs they share, and skill of the surgical team.
Was actually the size of two livers joined together. In terms of separating it, we had very advanced equipment that helped us to separate it very quickly without losing much blood.
But we did not count the cost until we are finished. We are still counting the cost.
The case of these twins, according to Minister of Health, was an opportunity for Nigerian medical experts, especially those at the National Hospital, to demonstrate their capability and expertise while investing in the lives of the children.
To encourage other hospitals to actually show more commitment to be able to bring their teams to work together to cooperate.
Just like the names of the twins, Goodness and Mercy, people see they have brought goodness to their parents, and it was double celebration for the Edes, as the mother was given automatic employment and the whole process, which was worth almost 20 million naira, was done free of charge. In Abuja, Aisha Uba Ali, NTA News.
That's a very cheery news there, I must say. In the meantime, the spate of fire disasters in the last few months across the country has again raised questions on the menace, which always leaves devastating consequences. Though India, in this report, takes a look at the impact of these blazes on the socio-economic life of the people and how the situation can be addressed.
A cry for help with no tangible response. These have been a recurring issue every year, especially during the Harmattan season, leading to drills by emergency agencies to address the menace. Yet, the sad tales of the devastation caused by fire outbreaks in many parts of the country in recent raises questions.
The first step to addressing the rising cases of fire incidences across the country is to look at the causative factors.
Most of them are man-caused. We cause them ourselves. The type of weather we are in is very dry, so everybody has to take precaution.
As far as I'm concerned, fire outbreak is linked to negligence and also the seasons that we find ourselves.
A data by the Fire Disaster Prevention and Safety Awareness Association of Nigeria reveals that between 2012 and 2019, properties worth over 6 trillion naira were destroyed, with several lives lost and many people sustaining various degrees of injuries. How responsive then are the emergency response agencies?
Going by the traffic on these roads, they cannot get there on time. And before they might have arrived there, such a property will burn to ashes.
Our arrival time depends on when you call us, how you call us, where we are coming. And when it occurs and we respond, we don't have access to fight that fire.
To address these and other internal security threats, the Ministry of Interior developed the NIPSAS app, an online application to give easy access to the National Emergency Control Room. This is in addition to the procurement of some modern firefighting equipment. But despite these developments, the situation seems uncontrollable as the prevailing fire outbreaks is serving as a litmus test for the fire service and the emergency response agencies. While experts continue to caution on the effects of global warming and the consciousness of humans on the environment, better funding of the fire service and constant sensitization of the public on preventive measures and response to such outbreaks are listed as recipe for fire-free Nigeria. In Abuja, Doing Dia, NT News.
Meanwhile, passengers and travelers at the Murtala Mohammed Airport are having a difficult time navigating their destinations. This is as a result of the Harmattan haze that is affecting flight operations. And Michael Olale reports that travelers are also complaining of incurring additional cost for either having their flights delayed or diverted.
The Harmattan haze is here. It is natural, but has created a difficult time for flight operations across the country. At the Murtala Mohammed Airport, Lagos, travelers painstakingly endure waiting hours due to flight delay or diversion. Most of those traveling to Calabar, for instance, have more tasks ahead than they could imagine.
Actually going to Calabar now, but I have to go and drop in Uyo, then take, after spending almost 50,000 naira, then I'll now have to take another cab from the time and it's affecting timing in business.
Some passengers are, however, not baffled by this development, based on the simple belief that it is better to be late than never.
The flight was scheduled for 8 o'clock, but now it shifted to 11 o'clock. I'm sure for safety purposes, which is okay for everybody. Safety first.
The Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority is loud and clear about the dangers inherent in flying under the Harmattan haze.
The public should realize that it's being suspended or put on hold in their interest. It's not in the interest of the airline to suspend its flight on account of weather. Every flight is suspended, it dislocates your schedule.
Although efforts to increase visibility and precision while landing informed the launch of Cat 3 by the Nigerian Airspace Management Agency, but this development is a clear indication that operators must upgrade equipment in order to put an end to the era of delayed or cancelled flights caused by climatic conditions.
Till the operators upgrade their airplanes and upgrade their pilots' training, and also fund to have a low visibility operation.
Key players in the sector want urged passengers to exercise patience until the climatic condition improves. In Lagos, Michael Olale, NT News.
And apart from diverse health challenges associated with the harmattan, the haze and cloudy weather also impacts negatively on the aviation industry. Justina Etem, who visited the Margaret Ekpo International Airport in Calabar, reports that the weather condition has led to reduction of air-to-ground visibility, causing diversion of flights from Calabar to Uyo.
This is the runway of the Margaret Ekpo International Airport here in Calabar. The weather here is really foggy, and this has affected the visibility here, and it has led to the cancellation of most flights coming in or leaving the city. The standard visibility range for smooth takeoff and landing of flights is about 2,400 meters. But here, visibility has dropped to 1,000 meters. This has no doubt affected operations in the airport.
If you look at the carnival period, the weather was okay. But immediately after the Calabar Carnival, the weather changed. Passengers have been coming since Saturday because the weather climate changed from Saturday, Sunday, and even Monday. Every effort to make it possible for weather to improve was negative. The airline has also made an arrangement whereby they take the passengers to Uyo. First of all, they have to cancel the flight when they are sure that the visibility is actually negative. They should just take it in good faith.
The airport authority is hopeful that the weather will normalize soon for normal operations to resume. In Calabar, Justina Etam, NTA News.
We pray the weather improves indeed. Now, the last quarter of the year, popularly referred to as Ember Month, is most drivers' nightmare due to the spate of road traffic crashes. However, some people have argued that January could be a more dreaded month for motorists due to the poor visibility as a result of the harmattan haze. And Segun Laolu in this report tries to find out how the motoring public is coping with the harmattan associated with heavy fog.
Oshogbo-Gbogan Road is one of the busy intercity highways in Osun State. As much as vehicular movement is not impeded, even with a few bad spots on the road, the weather is not at its best for commuting. It is common at this period of the year for motorists to experience poor visibility on the road. This is occasioned by the harmattan haze. Then, how are the motoring public coping with the weather condition, especially in the early hours of the day and late in the evening?
When you come out in the morning, the cloud, the weather is not clear. So you have to be very careful to maintain the road safety stuff.
If I don't see the road well, I will lose my full light and I will speed because of accident.
You don't put on your full light. If you put on your full light, you're not able to see the front unless you dim your light. So those are the things you normally give them orientation for.
Although FRSC records from last quarter of 2019 till date indicate reduction in road traffic crashes in Osun State, the command is not unmindful of the effects of the current hazy weather condition, and further reduction in road accident remains top priority.
And if you can see in Osun, we deploy 1,600 plus staff to the highway during this period.
The command advised motorists to drive with utmost caution in order to safeguard their lives and other road users now and for the rest of the year. Segun Lawole, NTA News.
Thank you, Segun, for that. Now, indiscriminate users of sirens and convoys without authorization will now have the Federal Road Safety Corps to contend with in year 2020 and beyond. This was one of the policy pronouncements made by the Corps Marshal Boboe Oyeyemi at a media chart where he reeled out plans by the Corps for the year 2020. Oyeyemi Ajayi is our guide.
For some time, reports on intimidation and harassment of road users and road traffic officials by unauthorized convoys and blaring of siren have been of concern to many. This has even resulted in death and injuries to many. Influential persons are often accused of these habits
as they move on high speed and disregard traffic rules and officials. Now, the FRSC is out to enforce the provisions of Section 154 of the National Road Traffic Regulation, NRTR 2012, Part 14, which states the persons that have rights to use sirens, flashes, or beacon lights on public roads.
Most of these convoys we are seeing, they are not even government officials. I think it's an abuse of freedom of movement and co. And there must be a stop to this. Most of them are not entitled to siren, to put a flash on their vehicles. And I think it's part of the lawlessness we are talking about. I will work with the Inspector General of Police and ensure that we put a stop to this.
The FRSC will be deploying more alcoholizers this year to detect and arrest commercial drivers who drink while driving. In the words of the FRSC Corps Marshal, it says, and I quote, "Enlightenment without enforcement is mere entertainment." And that is the reason why they call hashtag the year 2020 the year of enforcement. Hence, warning motorists to adhere to traffic rules. In Abuja, Oyeyemi Ajayi, NTA News.
And when we come back from the break we are about to take now, a beautiful story of waste to wealth as we take you on a trip to a spare part junkyard that has evolved into a super money spinner. Please stay with me.
The publisher and the chief editor Fada da Cikawa magazine Alhaji Isa Mu'azu Darma felicitate with the founder of Malfai Foundation Hajia Aisha Atiku Bagodo, First Lady of Kebbi State, on their 10 years anniversary in fighting the menace of Almajiri children, skills acquisition to the less privileged, and providing job opportunities to eradicate poverty among Nigerians, which is one of the cardinal policy of President Muhammadu Buhari to take 100 million Nigerians out of poverty. Malpai Foundation has no doubt yielded the desired result in championing the cause of the less privileged. Announcer Alhaji Isa Mu'azu Darma, Chief Executive, Fada da Cikawa magazine.
They swore an oath to serve our fatherland and defend the people. They traded their freedom, comfortable homes, and mortgaged their lives on the battleground for our unity and peaceful living. These are the great, fearless, loyal, and committed Nigerian armed forces who risked their lives courageously to safeguard our borders. But in the line of duty, many never returned. Nigerians, arise, let's celebrate our fallen heroes. Put on the remembrance emblem with pride to support the incapacitated and families of our fallen heroes.
It is indeed befitting to honor the memory of the gallant hearts of the men who paid the supreme sacrifice to keep the country united.
President Muhammadu Buhari enjoins all ministries, parastatals, religious and corporate bodies to donate generously to the Emblem Appeal Launch. Send your donations to these accounts. Account name, Emblem Appeal Launch. Account number 393-200-7526. EcoBank Nigeria PLC.
My name is Giato Adeza Adams, the General Manager, Corporate and Strategic Communications, Nigerian Port Authority. As regards the land borders closure, available statistical data from APMT, which is one of our terminal operators that is involved in container handling terminal, has recorded an increase of 200 TEUs of cargoes into their terminal as a result of cargo diversion from the vessels originally meant for neighboring countries. That shows you that the terminal operators is going to have an increase in revenue, which is accrued to the terminal, and at the same time, Nigerian Port Authority will equally benefit from the revenue increase. So that is the benefit we will derive, or we have derived, from the border closure.
Thanks for staying with me. The Nigerian capital market in 2019 had on its premium board the listing of two major foreign portfolio investments of over 4 trillion naira, thereby boosting the market capitalization to the end of the year in over 12 trillion naira Abolade Salami in this report analyzes what shaped activities in the market in 2019.
The Nigerian equities market, with a capitalization of over 12 trillion naira in 2019, contributed less than 10% to the nation's gross domestic product. The underperformance of the market to the economy, experts attributed to the inability of stakeholders to explore the market as a source of assessing long-term funding. The yield environment in the local investment market recorded a high return on the fixed income segment, which further attracted local investors in the instrument rather than equities.
With the quantum of the GDP relative to the Nigerian capital market, total market capitalization, I think that dysfunction is there. If you look at a country like South Africa, the total market capitalization is about $1 trillion, whereas in Nigeria, both the equity and the debt is just a little, close to $100 billion.
The low performance of the market, experts said, was largely based on various economic activities that characterized the year, thereby resulting in profit-taking and huge sell-off of big-cap securities.
So we've seen, one, local investors have little access to credit. Two, even local portfolio investors like the pension fund administrators, we are shying away from the equities market because of consistent losses, and therefore we are patronizing more of the fixed income market. Is that the central bank has compelled local investors to not invest in OMO instruments, and therefore the local investors have no choice than to switch their investment now to equities. So I believe the imbalance between local investors and foreign investors in terms of investment in the equities market will correct to some extent in the new year.
They, however, expressed optimism on an improved performance owing largely to various policies that will stimulate more participation of investors. In Lagos, Abolade Salami, NTA News.
Now, from mere observation, it gives an impression of a junkyard where rejected items are dumped and sometimes left to waste. But that's where that impression ends and the creative ingenuity of Nigerians begin. Rather than being a dumping ground, it's one place in Kaduna that has defied all odds and has become a multi-millionaire spare parts market. Abdullahi Mohammed went in search of what makes that market exceptional.
The skeletons of all sorts of road machines which were once the darling of their times may give you an impression that you are in a junkyard. But Panteka, as it is known, is gone far beyond that. The cars of the 60s to the 70s, as well as the latest in town, are all welcome to Panteka. It all depends on what brought the car to the market. It's either for a fix or a total dismantling. But here, every part of a vehicle is not thrown to the ashes. Each of the shops and open places are fabricating or recalibrating points. Part of outdated vehicles are converted to serve the most recent. And what is baffling here is that most of the technical hands doing the magic have no formal training. In the group of boys who perfected the art of division of labor to turn into pieces both mechanical, electrical and chassis of a vehicle in a jiffy, I found Lawal Abubakar. He stands out from the group because of his ability to communicate in English. His own specialization, losing out all electrical component of a car, and that has kept him comfortable in life for the past 4 years.
In a day, I can make a 3 or 4 cars or 3.
There is no food for a lazy man in Panteka. Ibrahim Umar is among hundreds of boys whose job is to confront buyers of spare parts, strike a deal and get the parts for the customer at a lower price, affording them their take-home pay. Hundreds of tons of iron are also sourced here every day, and this is what keeps our steel industry alive.
And here is one of the final products of this market. Scrap, they call it. In this form, it is aluminium. Aluminium being loaded into this truck. It will be transported to one of the aluminium smelter companies that will recycle it into another product.
And that scrap is a money spinner.
If you're supplying to the company, how much does it cost? 16 to 17 million.
kidding me?
Confirm.
Now you have an idea of what the junkyard has to offer. What is more critical is to harness the potentials of the hands involved in bringing back to life the bolts and nuts, the heart and eyes of the masters of the road. In Kaduna, Abdullahi Muhammad, NTA News.
Or when I was in Kaduna, we normally call Panteka, the car hospital, because no matter how tired your car is, and when you go into Panteka, you come out with it almost brand new. Now, it will no longer be business as usual for illegal oil bunkers in the Niger Delta in 2020 and beyond, as the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, has resolved to come down hard on them. Acting chairman of the EFCC, Ibrahim Magu, gave the warning while speaking with journalists in Port Harcourt. And Robinson Derataide has the details.
Ibrahim Magu, who is on a working visit to the Port Harcourt Zonal Office of the Commission, expressed concern over the activities of oil bunkers in the Niger Delta. Oil theft in the region is said to account for the loss of about 15% of Nigeria's crude oil production, amounting to about $1.7 billion monthly. EFCC will therefore strengthen its synergy with other agencies to end the colossal economic leakage.
We are trying to see how we can work together to contain the situation, to arrest the situation, and also contribute to the arrest of the situation.
The EFCC boss further revealed that vehicles seized at the 6th Division Nigerian Army Port Harcourt have been forfeited to the federal government and will be auctioned after due process.
We have not handed over anything to anybody yet. All the vehicles that were auctioned are still there. Because after the process, we will ask you to go and pay the amount agreed, the highest bidder. We will pay to a designated federal government account and come and show us. Then we will check with the Ministry of Finance whether that amount has been done. After the proper reconciliation, that is when we start releasing the debt.
Magu commended the media for its roles in the fight against corruption in the country. In Port Harcourt, Robinson Derataide, NTA News.
And inadequate preservation and storage of seafood in Nigeria are major challenges affecting their sales and consumption. These factors, experts say, are also inhibiting growth of the sector. Amaka Owo reports that adherence to regulations is key to harnessing the potential in the sector.
Nigeria is said to have seafoods, especially fish, in abundance, but still imports other types of fish into the country. Data has it that about 18,000 tons of stockfish is imported per annum.
India people used to bring it from overseas, so we go and pay for them. They will now tell us to come and buy the fish.
Those in the value chain say preservation and storage is a major challenge, as this is why there are allegations that some traders use harmful substances in preserving fish.
It's not good though. It's not good to use that sniper to preserve the stockfish. It's not good at all. Since I'm selling it, I don't think I use it. To preserve it, you can put salt inside water and spread it inside sun. Any ant that is inside will come out.
There was a video that went viral where we saw people sprinkling Snyder dangerous chemicals on fish, various fishes in the Nigerian market.
But there are certain laws that has to be attended to by the federal government to put things in the right perspective. Like our fish is banned from America for now.
The consumption of this rich source of protein in large quantity comes with its challenges, but more needs to be done.
Great awareness to especially importers. They should know that when they bring in their consignment like stockfish, they should ensure prompt clearance so that the product will not be lying in the seaport, thereby getting spoiled or growth of microbes.
Nigeria is the biggest consumer or the biggest market for pelagic fish, mackerel and herring. It's very, very large.
With a huge potential in the seafood business, all those involved in the value chain need to ensure adequate storage and preservation. In Lagos, Amaka O, NTA News.
In the meantime, the federal government's continued fight against economic sabotage is receiving a boost as the Nigerian Navy intensifies its fight against smuggling within the nation's maritime domain. The recent success story is the arrest and handover of seized foreign rice worth over 115 million naira to the Nigerian Customs Service in Calabar. Ubabase Edit has the details.
Rice numbering over 2,008 bags were arrested alongside 6 suspects and 2 wooden boats allegedly transiting from Cameroon. Commander Nigerian Navy Ship Victory, Vincent Okeke, says the act is an attempt by smugglers to exploit the high demand for rice during the festive period for pecuniary reasons.
My men have been adequately keyed into the non-compromise attitude of the base. So nobody is ready to compromise with them. Any boat that is accosted must be brought to the base.
The custom authorities and task force team of Operation Swift Response, who received the contraband, lauded the Nigerian Navy and reiterated their resolve to partner the officers at all times.
The suspect will be taken to the legal office for prosecution and proper arrangement in court.
The Nigerian Navy says it will double up effort to curb illegal activities, thereby enhancing national prosperity and security. In Calabar, Umar Basidet, NTA News.
And lately, people construct gas plant stations just about anywhere they find space, throwing caution, due process and safety to the winds. This has unfortunately led to gas explosions claiming lives and property, which some say can be avoided by simply doing the right thing. The question now is, how can the number of casualties through gas plant explosions be minimized or eradicated? Let's get some from Lydia Sampson.
Gas explosion is usually a tragic accident because when it happens, families mourn.
It's gas that killed my neighbor's child. I'm even planning to buy gas. Because of that, I refuse to buy gas.
Went to put a gas AC. I mean, just use the gas and put it for someone. The thing explode, and in fact, it disfigured the guy, and he's the only person that survived inside that room.
Luis Onati has been a station supervisor for 15 years in one of the licensed gas stations in Abuja. He said for him and his organization, safety is key.
Always check the leakage, the hose, the cylinder, the valve.
Luis, like most experts, says the recent gas explosion in Kaduna State that killed the chairman of the Nigeria Atomic Energy Commission, Professor Simon Malam, and 5 others at Sabon Tasha area of Kaduna Metropolis is a typical example of illegal gas retailers who have no regard for safety. Similarly, investigations reveal that some people in the business don't have the expert knowledge on handling gas, while some household users equally use gas with lackadaisical attitude and poor maintenance culture. Expert says most gas explosions happen as a result of the lack of gas detector instrument in gas plant stations to detect a gas leak. For Engineer Buba Abubakar, Zonal Operations Controller DPR, no gas plant should be sited near residential areas. This, he said, is one of the major provisions in the procedure for licensing LPG plants and retail operators.
All the explosion that has been happening is from the LPG retailers. The requirements are almost the same. You must be a registered company.
Most gas users say they are aware of the dangers inherent.
We have to create awareness of, as in the danger that can occur at any time.
Please, it's good to be conscious of especially gas.
The question is, should the blame game continue and people exposed to this avoidable danger, or are we all ready to take responsibility to put an end to it by rising to the occasion? In Abuja, Lydia Sampson, NTA News.
A very good question there, Lydia Sampson. Now, so far so good. It's been promise made, promise kept. Find out also who had told this line, as together we go spiritual in our next segment.
We have come to the end of another successful year, and we wish to appreciate all those that mean so much to us: our sponsors, our clients, government at all levels, corporate bodies, advertisers, religious bodies, civil society groups, political parties, and above all, you, our esteemed viewer. Together, we made 2019 great. Together, we shall make 2020 even greater. That is why we say, thank you. This is wishing you Merry Christmas and a prosperous New Year.
This Saturday on the Premier League.
Good to know you're still with us on News Extra. Now, whenever you make a promise, remember to fulfill it as soon as you can, because the people you made the promise to will forever keep hopes alive and make you a debtor. For the Ministry of Women Affairs, it was a big relief paying off this debt to the IDPs carried over from 2019 to 2020. Now, Momso Demendeti captured the moment for News Extra.
You can almost touch the excitement in the air as the children and even their parents ran out in abandoned excitement on sighting the convoy of the Minister of Women Affairs. Remember, she had come visiting shortly after Christmas and promised to return with help on seeing the health conditions on the camp. So now she returns.
Since I left here that day, I've not had a good sleep because every night it's been a burden on my neck. And I needed to keep to my promise of making sure I get back to them with the medical team to attend to their health.
Before the arrival of the minister, I had gone visiting with 27-year-old Hajar Baker, a mother of 5 children, whose youngest son has eyes signifying a health challenge. This, she says, has defied the little first aid and medical attention he has received so far. And with her husband being a commercial motorcyclist, proceeds from his business are never enough to feed the family. Tackling mounting health bills look like a bridge too far, she tells me. This is just a snippet to the myriad challenges they are confronted with here in this Malaysian garden IDP camp. One of the first things you notice on arrival to this camp is the stench that oozes from human feces, littering the whole camp.
The owner of the place didn't allow us to dig, even if it is a local toilet.
But this visit by the Ministry of Women Affairs, in collaboration with that of Health, will attempt to bring happy grins from grim faces. As Hajar Baker and her children happily join the queue to access free medical health care.
And she has fulfilled the promise. We're really proud with her.
Critical, I fear, is the issue of maternal, newborn and child health. But the issue of hypertension, the non-communicable diseases are important.
The celebration twofold, the receivers and the giver.
Happy birthday to you.
Momso Demendeti, NTA News.
Nigerians are believed to be one of the most religious people in the world, and the 2 leading religions of Islam and Christianity are dominant in the country. In continuation of our sectoral reviews, Abdullahi Musa Suleja chronicles main Islamic events in 2019 in Nigeria.
2019 witnessed a lot of Islamic activities in Nigeria, apart from the traditional Jummah prayers compulsorily offered by Muslims weekly, where clerics leveraged on to admonish worshippers on the tenet of the religion. The Nigerian Muslim Ummah also celebrated their Eid al-Fitr after the 30-day Ramadan fasting, and Eid al-Adha, otherwise known as Eid al-Kabir. The pilgrimage to Mecca, Saudi Arabia was also successfully carried out by about 90,000 Nigerians. The National Hajj Commission of Nigeria witnessed a change of leadership with the appointment of a new board to be headed by Ustaz Dhikrullahi Al-Hassan for a term of 4 years. The year also recorded a violent incident from Islamic Movement of Nigeria, IMN, led by Sheikh Ibrahim Zakzaki, as members protested the continued detention of their leader, leading to the death of 11 protesters, a journalist and a police officer.
There's no sensible government that will sit by and tolerate a group that says they don't recognize the government.
This led to the proscription of the group as pronounced by a court of competent jurisdiction in July 2019. An international Islamic conference hosted by one Ummah in Abuja attracted renowned Islamic scholar Ismail Mufti Menk.
If I could have worried, I would be very worried. Worried about what? I've never seen anything besides what's in the womb.
An Islamic center believed to be the first of its kind in Africa came on board, led by renowned Maiduguri-based Islamic scholar Sheikh Sharif Ibrahim Saleh. The center, to be based in Abuja, when fully operational, is expected to serve as a center for research and learning with a view to promoting Islamic scholarship and peaceful coexistence. President Muhammad Buhari was represented at the ceremony by the FCT Minister Muhammad Musa Bello.
Our religious centers and scholars will do well to evolve ways and means to educate and reorient our vulnerable youth who might be tempted to align with the insurgents. This center, when completed, will also promote a better understanding of contemporary challenges and how to face such challenges in these very difficult times.
An hadith of the Prophet that says, take advantage of 5 things before another 5 befalls you. Your youthful age before you grow old. Your free period before you become busy. Your health before you become ill. Your wealth before you become poor. And your life before death comes.
Muslim Ummah and its leaders in the country enjoined all to scale up good things to fellow citizens and be prayerful for the country to have more blessing, progress, and prosperity. Abdullah Musa Suleja, NTA News.
Prayer is indeed very, very key. Now, the beauty of life that is priceless, they say, is nature's gift to man, with endless resources to tap from. Some of them are of great significance and some others mysterious. One of such mysteries is the Dead Sea in the city of Jericho. Have you been there before? Well, for those who have visited the lake, you will understand what I mean. Now, Ruth Aguilera took a long trip with some pilgrims from Nigeria to the lowest place on earth. So together, let's unravel this mystery.
It was a long and quiet trip to the city of Jericho from Jerusalem. For more than an hour, it was taking forever to get there. Finally, we got to the lowest place on earth, Kalia Beach, the Dead Sea. It was like a mini market here, with almost anything you can find to buy, and the serenity was soothing. But the anxiety to have a feel of the lake couldn't wait.
This is the most talked about Dead Sea, the lowest point on earth. So right now, I'm at the lowest point of the earth. But it is minus 430 meters. That is equivalent to minus 1,400 feet below sea level. A lot of people have come all the way here from Nigeria to come and have a feel of this spiritual cleansing because of the supernatural nature of this water. But there's only one way to find out. How does it feel going into the Dead Sea? It's a very wonderful feeling. I believe God that after this, all the things I've been having are gone forever.
It's not that cold in the body, but I discovered it's very soft. I taste it and I allow it to enter my eyes. The beat is very painful.
I believe, I have faith that when I reach here, whatever is dead in my life, it will come to life.
This medical practitioner was on hand to ascertain some of these beliefs.
You know, like let's say people with wound or skin disease, ulcers and so on. We wash them with hypertonic saline, which this is one of them, but this one is more salty than what we use, like normal saline and some hypertonic salines. Anybody with skin disease, if you go in this one, truly it will heal. But the thing is, if you believe it.
As I had been privileged to have a feel of the lake, for some of the pilgrims, they wanted more. The Salt Lake is bordered by Jordan to the east and Israel to the west, with no plants, fish, or any visible life in the sea, except its guests. In order not to be left out, I also had to wash up to have a feel of the lake.
I feel refreshed, I feel cleansed. Whatever I've come here with, I feel rejuvenated. From the lowest point of the earth, the Dead Sea here in Jericho, Ruth Aguilera, NTA News.
Beautiful one there, Ruth, I must say. Now, the culture and tourism sector in 2019 has been described as one of the catalysts used by the federal government in unlocking the rich cultural potential and rebranding the country's image globally. The sounds from the sector resonated like never before in 2019. Oyenaya Kalu Oka in this special report brings us these sounds in beauty and color.
Wow, I guess you can hear the sound, the melodious sound that touches the soul of Africans. Nigeria in particular is blessed with many more, and that brings us to the abundance of culture and tourism. The sound of kakaki, a cherished musical instrument in the northern part of the country. Nigeria is a blessed country endowed with a lot of cultural heritage, shaped by multiple ethnic groups, interesting sites, fascinating history, and happy people. Harnessing all this in 2019 was of top priority to the federal government.
We're able to harness what we are and what we do as culture, as tradition and heritage, okay? It can even boost economy.
In 2019, the Minister of Information and Culture, Laya Mohammed, focused on restructuring the industry and repositioning it as a key driver of the economy. The creative industry, which contributes millions of naira to the economy, was given strong support by the federal government.
President Muhammadu Buhari actively supports tourism. There's, it's not in doubt. We've seen what has come out of it.
Interactive sessions within and outside the country was held with key players to fashion out ways of developing the sector and attracting global attention.
It further confirms that Nigeria is on the right path and that we're on track to actually make tourism a key driver in our economic development.
The tourism and culture calendar was agog with cultural activities ranging from the Nigerian Flavors, National Festival of Arts and Culture, the International Arts and Craft Expo, all in a bid to promoting domestic tourism.
We have done better in the last 4 years than we have in the last 10 with regards to these issues.
We'll continue to improve and build on our cultural values, which of course is what tourism will sell out and promote.
It was an interesting time for some states in 2019, while other states were dormant. The Osho-Oshobo Festival, the Drum Festival, the colorful Durbar, energetic Calabar Carnival, and the interesting festival in Abuja made 2019 remarkable.
State governments to please, and local governments to please do their basic responsibilities.
One of the biggest and welcoming news for this sector in 2019 was the announcement by President Muhammadu Buhari of visa on arrival of all African visitors.
It is a laudable initiative. It is a very, very good step.
However, there was a setback in the industry, as highlighted by key players. The issue of most chief executive officers in the sector being on acting capacity for a long period, they believed, posed distraction to the growth of the industry.
It's one thing to stay for long on acting capacity. It is another thing to be proactive. We know that paucity of fund is a factor, but some of them, we have seen one or two of them that think outside the box.
It is going to be a busy year for the culture and tourism industry in 2020 as federal government plans to launch the national policy on culture and tourism, finalize work on the Motion Picture Council of Nigeria, make the Tourism Summit a yearly affair, and also to launch the festival calendar. Oyenaya Kalu Oka, NTA News.
And it is already the second week of the new year. Wow, time is sure flying. Well, talking about time and priorities, here is inviting you for consideration of a common ground in shaping up Q culture of first come, first serve for value reorientation and orderliness in public life among Nigerians. This reminds one of the war against indiscipline of those days. And from Lafia, we have Hamza Musa Makarfi with a report.
It was described as a strange sight when it was first documented 183 years ago, but since then, global queuing habits continue to gain wider acceptability. Depending on cultures and traditions, Nigerians may not forget efforts of the government towards redirecting the people to cherished and time-tested virtues in public life.
All we are saying is be more patriotic. All we are saying is be more honest. All we are saying, be more industrious.
Anxiety and compromises, stakeholders say, must be avoided on the part of service providers and those served for order to prevail.
People might feel disrespected. People might even want to go for themselves and start using strength to go ahead on the line. Normally, in a place like this, we have to use decorum. We don't have to use strength. We don't have to use status. Because if we use strength and status, others might be disadvantaged in one way or the other.
It makes the whole thing organized. It avoids so many things, and among ourselves we feel okay by being on the queue. It's just a matter of being patient. When you come first, definitely you'll be the first person to be served in all locations, so it's a normal thing.
Africa's largest television network, the NTA, stands out on value orientation through content. So is the National Orientation Agency, among others, with the mandate.
Change begins with me.
Well, Fatima, I think in life there may be no doubt to say that it is either a crowd or a queue, and I'm sure you want to be on the path of the queue, or do you want to jump in? From Lafia, Hamza Musa Makarbi, NTA News.
Well, Hamza, that's a beautiful question. I wouldn't want to jump in. I'll sure want to queue because I'm a patriotic Nigerian, and it is said that change begins with me and you. So, now to the next story. The Rivers State Police Command has confirmed the arrest of 2 persons in connection with the murder of Matilda Ebitonye Mark, a final year law student of the Rivers State University. Robinson Derataide, who has been on the trail of the incident, reports that among those arrested is the victim's ex-boyfriend.
At the family house of the late Matilda Ebitonye Mark in Rokboko, Port Harcourt, the parents, including a nonagenarian grandmother, are still in shock of their daughter's death. Matilda Mark is from a Gbedi community in Kolokuma, Opokoma Council area of Bayelsa State. Parents of Matilda, who were proud of her potential in air making and ballet dancing to support her education, called for justice in the matter.
Cutting my daughter's life short for me. They have taken off part of my life. They have just destroyed me. We are praying the government assist us to make sure he helped me to get these people and let them be apprehended and then be destroyed also.
They've taken the palm of flesh. I cannot bear it. Let Nigerians come to my head. Let the Rivers State government come to my head. Let Bayelsa government come to my head. Everybody who has the fear of come to my head. Anyone who can hardly feel the pain of a mother, come to my head.
The heinous act was allegedly committed by her ex-boyfriend, one Jeffrey from Cross River State, over an argument surrounding 70,000 naira he allegedly borrowed from her.
First of all, she informed me that he borrowed some money from her, about 40,000 naira, to buy something or so. He was broke at that moment and he was going to pay her a little bit after. I think that was around August. And after some time, I heard from her that she borrowed him then another money, about 30. So in total, it became 70. On Saturday, she told me that he had promised to pay her the money on the 20th.
The police confirmed the arrest of the suspect.
For that unfortunate incident, 2 persons have been arrested and they are helping us in our investigation. It's quite a sad situation. One of the suspects arrested is the ex-boyfriend of the girl, and we're still going further. We're interrogating them, and because we also need to do some forensic analysis of the blood we collected from the scene of crime. So it will take quite some time, but I do know that at the end of the day, justice will be met in the circumstance.
Matilda was found in a pool of blood in her off-campus apartment in the early hours of Tuesday, December 10th. In Port Harcourt, Robinson Terateide, NTA News.
And we take a peep on the sporting world. When we come back, we wrap it up nicely together.
When we have love, we'll be able to unite, irrespective of tribe, religion, and culture. So we keep preaching on love. That is the only binding force. Let us love ourselves, irrespective of where the person comes from.
You are about to witness the commencement of the most stimulating and compelling contest on television. This contest is only for the strong, the intelligent, and the talented. Get ready for the Unity Challenge reality TV show. Coming soon.
Welcome back. Now, for 2 decades, no Nigerian have won the CAF Men's Football of the Year award. And Tamara Ebiwe in this special report seeks answers to why the trend persists.